I was in a rut. I'm doing everything I wanted to progress, but everything's staying stagnant. I'm going to the Marines.
Okay.
Cousin goes, no, don't go to Marines, man. Don't go to the Marines. Come over and apply at the city of Miami. And I said, yeah, but city of Miami, I'm not sure. Oh, damn. So whatever, I apply and became a police officer, and here I am today. The Marine thing, I think, would have been great. It was a very hot time overseas.
Yeah, I was trying. When you said that, I started thinking, man, when was that? Those times? What were we going?
No,
through
it was
back
hot.
then?
It was hot. It wasn't. It wasn't the initial. Iraq, and when we took off after 9/11. However, it was still really hot and really dangerous over there. We were losing.
Still dangerous.
Yeah, it still is.
But it was way more.
Yeah, it was really hot. And then I went to I have coworkers that were in the military at that time, and they said, yeah, for sure, it was hot over there.
Yeah.
And shout out to everybody who served overseas and served currently. Man, my hat's off to them. Those guys are heroes out there. And it's something that I was looking to do. Didn't come to fruition. I applied and I became a police officer.
So as a police officer, when you first joined, were you feeling, it's funny that you brought up the military. I got a very close friend of mine, Damien, shout out to him. And he put in his time as an Army veteran.
Yeah.
We went to go visit him a couple weeks ago, my mother and I, and my mom was asking questions that she's never asked him, and because we're staying with him the whole weekend. And she was like, hey, did you join because, you had no way out? Like you were in desperate need? He's like, I just didn't know what the fuck to do. I was just bored. I didn't know what to do in my life. Like that. Say, well, I wasn't doing bad, but I wasn't doing good. I was just stuck. Yeah. And somebody just mentioned it, and I'm like, fuck it, let me go try, But he wasn't that guy. He was an athlete, and he's also an entertainer, by the way. Mm-hmm. But he did join, and he did go, and he did go for Afghani and Iraq and witness and experience a lot of crazy shit. And to this day, now he has PTSD, and he's fully, he gets a check for all that. But he admits that when he went in there, he wasn't all about that gun-ho passion, like my country, this and that. He was not that. That got built into him, and he became somebody different, and now it's a different person. And I can imagine that. Well, now what I'm asking is, as an officer, when you got into it, it seemed like it was, I really don't know much else to do. Let me do this. Somebody suggested it's pretty good. I like the deeds that they do and everything else. Did it grow on you in the coming years? Or was it something that was like, you know what, this job's not bad, and you just kept going with it and just let it blend in with the rest of your life?
No, I always wanted to, so I don't know if I should have said this, like since I was a little kid, I was always like the protector. Okay. I always wanted to protect. I hated bullies. I don't like bullies.
Same.
Yeah, I can't stand bullies.
To this day.
So it was always in me to protect. I always have this thing where if someone needs help, I always want to help them out. It's still in me. So that just carried on throughout my lifetime. So the Marines I was in a rut of what I was doing, but however, I felt like, man, this is my opportunity to do something and protect. So I felt as though what we were going through overseas was a bigger need to get protected, I guess. I don't know. I guess that's the mentality I was in.
I get it, though.
So then, city of Miami is not on my radar. It wasn't on my radar at the time.
Nor was any other agency.
Yeah. So I just think that it was not that it wasn't something that was like honorable. It's just I was like this, and then this was brought to my attention.
Okay.
And I felt as though it was brought to my attention to deviate from going.
Right.
And doing something that was really dangerous.
If I was your friend or family, I would have said, no, don't do it.
Yeah.
I've had cousins who wanted, and I'm like, dude, don't.
Yeah.
Don't, unless you feel like you have no other option. Why? Because we don't know what the fuck else is going to happen. Whose war are we fighting? Yeah. What Biden's going to do, Yeah. So, yeah, I agree. I would have told you don't go. I get it.
So I separated. I'm like, all right, I'm not gonna do that. I'm going all in here. And I'm man, it's at the first time in my life where I set everything aside. I said, I'm not gonna do baseball. I'm not gonna do stand-up comedy, DJing. I'm going to, just leave that behind, and I'm going to start new me. This is something that was always looming, and then I finally get to do it. So, bam, here I am, and I'm all in. Shaved head, let's go. I'm watching the police movies. This is great. I'm going to do good for the city of Miami. I'm going to do good. And then, little by little over the years, I want to say 3 years, little by little, it just started bubbling up. The old me, like I said, it's a cycle. Started bubbling up. So then, kind of dropped the. I want to say, it's not. It's like more like a priority to be this person, you know, and like, hey man, you forgot about me, man.
Right.
You're still you. And then it's like, oh yeah, I am still me. And then little by little it came out, and then it just molded. I think that goes through every new officer. They have to, first of all, you can't come in with a civilian mentality.
Of course not.
Yeah, because you're about to see some real stuff.
Right.
You're about to see some stuff that will haunt you.
And if you don't mind me cutting you off,
Yeah.
Okay, you told me earlier you were 38, right? You've been.
I am 38.
You are 38.
Yeah.
Well, your wife said you're going to be 39.
Yeah, she said I was going to be 30. I'm turning 30. I'm turning 39, but yeah.
Okay, so you were 38.
I was 38.
Technically, you're 38 and a half.
She makes the rules. She makes the rules.
You've been in law enforcement how long now, roughly?
14 years.
Okay, so to me, this makes a lot of sense then.
Yeah.
So when you join, even though everything you're saying is super correct in regards to the adjustment, and you got to change the mentality from civilian to law enforcement, and so much more that's going to come with time. If you took all that away, you were still just a young man.
20,
mid-20s, yeah. Un
pendejo.
pendejo.
Yeah.
Un pendejo, yeah. You still got a lot to learn and maturing as a grown man, and this is what life's really about, and blah, blah, blah. Yep. So regardless, that was a phase that was going to happen, and it happened to happen during an enrollment into, becoming an officer. So I believe that was almost like a double challenge for you, so it's understandable.
Yeah.
So what I'm saying is even if you hadn't become an officer 2-3 years later, 26, 27, would have knocked at your head, and it would have said, hey, did you forget about DJing and having fun and doing artistic things? You know, it would have happened no matter what, but it still kind of started happening about a few years in, you're saying, into the police force.
Yeah.
And then you took that and started doing what with it?
Started bubbling up. So another thing that I really wanted to do was movies. I loved movies. I want to make movies. I want to do cinematic stuff.
We share a lot in common, by the way.
Yeah, man.
For real, we do.
I I'd buy a little handheld camera and do little skits with my brother, Saturday Night Live stuff. And then eventually I was able to buy, due to the career, I was able to buy, I think everything kind of just meshed at one point.
Okay.
I was able to buy a nicer camera. And then with that camera came editing software. With that software, I bought a new computer. And then I was like, YouTube University, son.
Hey,
YouTube University. How do you do green screen? How do you do lightsabers? And I was just research. And there's just hours of researching that I'll make a little video. Hey, let's do this.
And this all started like almost 10 years ago?
Man. Yeah, 10 years ago, 2010, 2011. Okay. I know because I started making little videos with my son. And I would put them up on Facebook, and I would put them up, and people would be like, man, that was really cool. How'd you do that with the Star Wars pew, 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 That's not how it really sounds.
It sounded real to me.
Yeah, but those are the sound effects I could afford at the time, So I make that, I'm like, man, that's really cool. How did you do that? And I'm like, oh, no, I do this. I research it. Nah, bro, no. And then little by little, it got known that I know how to do video. So I took that. So then you take the entertainment. Then I could create a movie or whatever, short film or my creation, whatever I decide to create. And then I can take in the comedy and I can intertwine it, right? So I started doing stuff, and people started knowing me as, oh, that guy makes funny little videos. Nothing crazy, but stuff with my son and folding laundry and dancing in the laundry room. I was breakdancer. I threw it in there. I don't know if anybody picked it up, a little Easter egg. Used to breakdance.
Yeah, you do it. You do it over there, yeah.
It's going to set up for the timeline. So I would do little videos here and there, and then there was a point where somebody found out that I did stand-up comedy. And I used to work the Improv in Miami, in the Grove, when it was in the Grove. Somebody found out that I did stand-up comedy, and they told the manager, like, Nick, you do stand-up comedy? Like, no, I don't do that. I don't do that because how do the two worlds collide? One is so
completely
raw, real. You have to be, out there, and the other one you have to be reserved, professional.
Right.
So how do they combine?
This is very true.
It's hard. Imagine getting on stage now. As soon as you get up, Bullies.
But that also makes me want to ask you this, and I know it's a little challenging to answer, especially if you're going to try to do your best politically correct. But does that make you a different type of officer, the type that people don't mind, being pulled over by or having to address a certain issue because even though you know how to turn it off,
Yeah.
obviously, you've been doing this for a while, it's still in you. You still have this sweetheart comedic, look at things differently than the average. You're locked in.
Yeah.
I know you have the discipline and the muscle memory to click back the holster or approach everything, just do everything you're supposed to do depending on the situation.
Yeah.
But do you feel like, definitely you were definitely a more laid back officer who approached things a little bit differently, not just any one situation, but in general?
Man, I can tell you the officers that I know, there are a lot of them are laid back. Mostly all of them. In our jurisdiction,
oh, that's great.
That's all good. Don't worry about it, baby. We keep rolling.
Go ahead.
In my jurisdiction, man, it's the most laid back department that I visit a lot. I've been teaching at conferences. You go for trainings, and everyone's like, not to put anybody else down, but it's a different culture. We're in Miami. We got Miami cops are Miami. You know, they take off the uniform. They work 10 hours. They take off the uniform and they go back into society.
Miami.
Croquetas.
Yeah.
You know, they do all that stuff.
Right.
So really laid back, down to earth. People come and like, man, these guys are really cool. So to come back to your question about it, do I see myself as that? I was more professional, but I would be like the abuela that would slip you to 20. You know what I mean? Like that nice, like, hey, but you know what? Don't. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Come on, man. Work with me. You know what I mean?
There you go. That's what I'm talking about. Yes.
But you have to. It's a balance.
Of course,
because
it's a difficult one.
At the end of the day, Mr. Nice Guy could be the guy with a gun that's going to kill you and prevent you to go home to your wife that tells you you're 40 years old when you're 38. So, so you have to be that friendly, but you also have to, in the back of my mind, I said, I'm watching this guy's hands to make sure this guy doesn't go something fast or something. And then Mr. Friendly goes out the window when I perceive it to be something that, hey, now you got Mr. Professional. My man, put your hands up. Just do this. We'll be done in a second. But I need to see what you keep reaching for in your waistband. Because reaction, as a fighter, you know that reaction is slower than action. So essentially, if I was to get up and punch you in the face across the table and not telegraph it, I would catch you off guard. I'd probably give you a good slip. I'd probably knock you to the wall. I'm just kidding.
I was agreeing with all three.
I'm just kidding. But you might move back, but I got you. So that's where we have to try to be in front of that action. So it's a slippery slope, man. Police work is a slippery slope. You're damned if you do. You're damned if you don't. At the end of the day, you just want to go home. I just want to go home.